Good evening and welcome to Conversations with Segun. It's a bright, awesome Tuesday evening today, and I'm excited to be here because I'm excited about you and I'm excited about everything that happens on Conversations with Segun. I want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Everyone joining, I can see you guys. You're already there, you're already waiting. Thank you for being wonderful members of this audience. I like to see you. I like to see your name. I like to know where you're watching us from. Already, I have someone who's already in the comment section. May your King's Agency says we did here, Gidigba. Welcome, my brother. How are you, Honorable? Thank you for joining us on Conversations with Segun today. Like we usually would do on the program, I would like you to share the stream to your contacts wherever they are. Please share it wherever you're watching from, whether you're watching from Facebook or you're watching from YouTube or you're watching this after now. Please do share it with your contact. Let them know that we are live here and we are ready. My guest is already in the studio. And like you know, we always bring you the best every Tuesday night. The man I have in the studio tonight to join us on Conversation with Segun is someone who you would not catch easily. It's not someone who you just come across any day. But we're very fortunate to have him live in the studio with us. Mr. Ciuci Monye is the managing director of Ciuci Consulting and also the director general of the Delta Economic Summit Group. Is in the studio. No fear, no need for alarm. He's already here. I'm not bringing him up now. I want to see those that are watching. Put a comment in the comment section if you are watching. Tell me where it is you're watching from. Let me know your name and where it is you're watching from. I'm definitely going to bring it on the screen. Mayor King Agency says he's watching from. Oh, just say where they here, Gidigba. Fantastic. Mayor Kings, I think is either in Asaba or Warri, either of the two. But he's here, and there are many more of you who are here. Would like to see the comments in the comment section. Thank you all for joining. Tonight is definitely going to be a fantastic night. Last week we had Mr. Hyacinth Aneke here talk to us about from startups to fortune, and we had a free gift last week. We had two of his books, one right on the program here, and two people actually won those books, courtesy of Button Up. All right, Richard Onota. My name is Richard, and I'm watching from Obalende, Lagos. Welcome, Richard. This is the first time I'm seeing you here. I'm sure you're here because of the DG. Because DG is already smiling just looking at your name. So it seems like there's a connection right there. Welcome, by the way. Richard, share this stream with your contact. Let them know that we have the DG of the Delta Economic Summit Group in the house tonight. All right, I'm not going to waste any further time. For those who are not here, who will watch later, well, you will miss many of the goodies that we'll get from bringing the DG live here. But I'm bringing him live into the studio. Welcome, Mr. Ciuci Monye. Welcome to the program tonight, sir.
Hey, Segun, how are you?
I am very well. I am excited to have you right here in the studio.
It looks like we have similar backdrops. So maybe we have
exactly. I thought same too. I thought same too.
Awesome. It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me. This is my first time, and I'm definitely excited to be part of this. So let's roll, and have some fun. Thanks.
Fantastic. Welcome to the program. For those of you who don't already know Mr. Ciuci Monye, he's from the very popular Monye family. How many of us in Delta State will remember Professor Monye? Not just Delta State, he was the special advisor, chief economic advisor to one of the past presidents. And this man right here is from that stock. If you have heard of the Monyes from Delta North, the whole lot of people there, and he is from. And it looks like, sir, a lot of people in your family are economics. Am I correct?
Well, a lot of them are economists. A lot of them are intellectual. A lot of them are also creative, innovative. So brother, for instance, Ugo, he's not quite an economist. Well, maybe like a fashion economist, maybe.
That's the guy who designed Ebuka's popular agbada.
Yes, yes,
Just
yes,
so
yes.
that people get that
So,
clarity. Ugo Monye.
yeah, so he's not quite an economist per se, but
He's
he's
a
doing his.
fashion economist. All right. So, how was it like growing up in that family, sir? Let's start from there.
Okay, very interesting family. My father had several brothers. You know, people often laugh that it's a football team plus one, all boys,
Mm-hmm.
and so pretty large family, and I would say that one of the good things though is that it's a close knit family. Everybody's there. Everybody supports each other. It's a pretty nice thing to watch and experience. But one of the things you've said is also that they like to really advance in their profession. So you talked about prof, for instance. So they like to keep moving forward, whether it's Ugo or whether it's Ifi Monye or whether it's everybody's really trying to do, advance in their own spaces. Okay. Even as I speak, I'm also doing my doctorate. So you just have to keep pushing it. So it's a large family, but very, very close knit at the same time.
So what for me? I'm thinking, what is it that was the underbelly in that family that makes everybody wants to push forward in everything they're doing? Because if you hear of all the Monyes, they're at the top, like you just said, in everything they're doing. The fashion guy is doing his thing. You are doing your thing there at Data Economy Summit Group and every other place. Prof is there, Ifi and all the others. What was that thing that was the underbelly, the underlying factor that makes everybody that grew up in that place want to do more? Because, sir, we have a lot of young persons watching, and with what is going on with values in our society today, we need to begin to talk about stuff like this to be able to, correct the next generation.
Okay, so I think what it is that at the end of the day, perhaps the size of the family also contributed to it, where everybody is saying, oh, you know what, even for, sometimes I say that maybe unconsciously there was this interest to build a strong family brand. It's a brand that or family that people, the fathers were sort of conscious of ensuring that all their children did well. So even when we're all in secondary school, somehow we compared notes, somehow we encouraged each other, somehow we went to each other's homes to ensure that we're all pushing each other. So those values were there. Those values where being supportive was promoted, are there. Those values where being collaborative were there. Now, this is not to say, oh, it's such a perfect family that doesn't have his own wahala. Every family has his own his own, I
Their own
guess,
fair share of wahala.
share of wahala. But generally, I can say that the average Monye is proud to be a Monye.
Fantastic, fantastic. I like that fact. I'm growing a young family, and I'm beginning to look at things like this that are going on in these big families that makes them stand out wherever they are. I want to be able to do the same in my family. All right. So growing up in that family and coming out and going to school, I know you schooled abroad. You could have easily stayed abroad. You were at the time you went to school, you did so well in student union government that you got to the peak of becoming the president of the students union. It shows that you got to the peak of your career abroad. Why didn't you stay abroad? What was the thing that made you come back?
This question, Segun, is a very funny question or it's a very good question because sometimes when the question comes up, I mean, I asked this to some of my colleagues one day during an orientation, and I said, "Why do you think I returned when I was just, a senior person in the bank. I was actually a branch manager, and I left. And and somebody says, because you are not well, sir. and, and he said that because he was thinking, how would you have such an opportunity, and then you say you're upping and leaving to Nigeria to go and serve. You went to do NYSC because
Mm.
of what, but here's the thing. For me, some people think that because so much has happened in Nigeria, there's very little to believe and there's little to hope for. Um, that's not my belief personally. I believe that there's still hope. I believe that I have no other choice than to still have hope for the country. So even as far back as that time, my belief was, you know what, I can see the trajectory for me. Just being here in the US, I can see where I would go. I would grow very quickly and get to the ceiling because of who I am, because of the color of my skin, etc., etc. Right? But if I'm in Nigeria, color is not my own issue, really. Right? Um, and ultimately, the pattern that I saw was that everybody and a lot of relatives that lived abroad would get to a certain point in their lives and say they want to go back home. And I'm not saying they want to come back to Nigeria to stay in Lagos or stay in the city. Most times when they are retiring, they want to go back to the village.
To the
So there's
village.
something that connects you to your roots, to your home, to where you're from, that I didn't feel like I wanted to live completely out of that. Why do I want to wait till I retire to live the life where I still feel rooted and connected? No, I don't want to delay that process. Rather, if there's something that is making me stay away from where I am from, perhaps I should go and contribute to fixing that thing so that I can live long and spend a longer time in that place. That was sort of the motivation. So let me not wait and retire at 70 before I come back home. Let me leave now and go and contribute to that process of fixing whatever the problem is so that I can live long there and
True.
contribute my to where I am from rather to another man's land. That's my philosophy.
Fantastic. And I think that's a good philosophy we need to teach to young Africans. You know, the Jackpa philosophy now, everybody wants to Jackpa.
I hear.
Everyone wants to Jackpa now. So we need to be able to drive this, your thinking, to let young people know that, look, whether you Jackpa or not, at the end of the day, everybody's going to come back to motherland. And if you have to come back to motherland, now is the
Yeah,
time to start working it out.
it will still come back. It will reverse.
By the grace of God, we believe that with people like you around. So I want to ask, when you came back, you stayed in Lagos and you were doing so much in the economic capital of Nigeria. What was the journey and how did it link to you coming to the Delta Economic Summit Group? I know there was a link between your Lagos sojourn and coming to the Economic Summit Group. What was it like for you, sir?
Okay, so CUC Consulting was set up in Lagos. It was set up in 2007. And so the main thing I was doing in Lagos was sort of building that organization. Okay. Now, after several years, everybody started talking about, okay, what are you going to do? What are we going to do about Delta? If we look at Delta State and you look at Lagos State, you look at Abuja, you look at a lot of the economic hubs, you find out that Deltans contribute a great deal to these
Mm,
economies. And for me, one of the things that I wondered was, okay, if these Deltans are doing such a great job in these cities, what is happening with Delta itself, that is producing these people. And so a group of people reached out to me um, a few years ago, about six years ago or thereabout, and said that they were a private sector led organization, and it's a think tank, and that they would like me to become the inaugural director general. Um, and at the time, everything they told me about the Delta Economic Summit Group just seemed to align with the things that the conversations I was having at the time. You know, they said that the group was going to serve as a bridge between public and private sector. That was useful to me. I was excited about that because I used to tell people, hey, why is it that we have all these private sector guys making money, wanting to do things in Delta, but somehow there's a disconnect between them and the government. And so when I heard the objectives of the group, it resonated with me. And once I was, approached to join in as the DG, I accepted it, and I've been doing that till now.
So I want to ask, would you say your journey has been a fulfilling journey for 6 years up till now?
I would say yes. I'll say yes on many levels. So so I've been in Delta for 2+ years now. Ciuci Consulting has also established um, its regional office in Asaba. Quite a
Wow.
number of things have happened since my move here, including the fact that CUC is growing in the region with clients in Port Harcourt, with an office in Benin City. We're now
Mhm.
the largest operators of hospitals, running the Edo Specialist Hospital in Benin. So a lot has happened in 2 years. As I speak to you in a few days on Monday, we'll be launching the first of its kind elderly care home. So there's a lot going on now, just being here. I think for me, it's one of the messages that I preach to a lot of people, a lot of Deltans in other states outside Delta is, hey, there are not many places that have land like this. I told somebody, I said, you don't want to hear how much I paid for rent for office space in
In
Asaba.
Lagos,
In
or as
you can't
compared to Lagos?
compare to Lagos. And when I tell some people, they say it's a lie, but it is true, you see. So there's so many other benefits. I don't have to be in traffic all day long. Um, I can get to the office in 5 minutes. Like all sorts of benefits. It's incredible. I live a better life. I play golf almost every other day. Like, so it's really incredible. It's really incredible. So
Fantastic, fantastic.
I'll say it's been good.
Good. All right. So good to know, because since you started the Delta Economic Summit Group, I was actually told about this thing is starting, and there's this guy on top of. In fact, you were the selling point for the group. You said you need to meet this young, energetic, nice guy. He was talking so much about you at that time and how we needed to, connect with you and make things work. Though we've not been able to do that all this while, but we're just excited that we have someone like you with all the good ideas around to make this work. So I'm going to move to our discussion tonight. We're talking about strategic innovations in the post-COVID era. COVID-19 has come. It wasn't planned. From March 2020, at least in Nigeria, the trajectory began to change. And from April, there was lockdown. From April till the end of the year, a lot of things changed, business-wise, economic-wise, everything changed. How was it first, sir? How was the COVID for you? Were you prepared for it? Did it do better for your business, or did it make you worse?
Segun, you're setting me up, because I tell people that if I say the truth, some people may may not be happy with me, because I know a lot of businesses didn't do well. It was a very,
Yes.
very tough time for a lot of businesses in this period. But interestingly, 2020 was our best year in history.
Fantastic.
And I'm talking on many levels, and I think one of the reasons is because of the way we had positioned ourselves as an organization. Um, about 3-4 years ago, when we looked at all the sectors that Ciuci Consulting was addressing, we made a conscious decision to ensure that we prioritized agriculture, food, and healthcare. At the time, we decided to provide interim management services to one of the bigger hospitals in Lagos. And we didn't know that that was preparation for a
For
lot of,
COVID.
yeah. And
Mm.
just so happened that from that time till now, we've been doing a lot in the care space. And COVID came, and guess what? We were a key service provider. We were quite relevant at the time. So I think, in the light of the conversation we're having about strategic innovation, one of the things that people have to learn to do, maybe this is the first lesson I'll be sharing right now, is to learn to anticipate,
The
to learn,
forecast.
yes, to anticipate. Uh, and when you're trying to anticipate, you have to also understand that there are certain things that are critical and are essential. You cannot not, you know, look at healthcare as an essential service. So the
Yes.
moment you realize that, hey, right now we don't have good hospitals, we don't have emergency centers and all that, you know that one day there will come a time where there will be demand for this. I tell people the same thing about battery, cars. Everybody's
Yes.
So everybody's using petrol here. Some parts of the world are no longer using petrol, but people here are not even thinking, what are we going to do about battery cars? Because one day it's going to shift. What are we doing about the raw materials, the natural resources that we have that are used for these batteries? Nobody's taking position and preparing to serve the world with this. That's anticipation. We tend to react rather than be proactive. So I
Mm.
think the key point I want to share using this answer on what to do, or how we fared during the COVID period.
Fantastic. So for you to survive post COVID, one of the things is that you must be intuitive, you must focus, you must see ahead of others, you must look at what others are not looking. Mr. Moye just mentioned just now something that I think I've mentioned it once on the program before, that look, a day is going to come where all the Tesla cars, the Belgium, will come to Nigeria, whether first class or second class or third class Belgium. They will Electric cars will come to Nigeria as Belgium, maybe before we start producing. And when that comes, we're going to need electric car mechanics. We are going
Exactly.
to we are going to need people who would put battery charging ports. Who we have places where we can charge batteries. Who we have batteries that can last longer than the usual batteries that we have. So
Yeah.
that's an opportunity that people are not even looking at. I was telling a guy who is a technician, I said, if you can do anything now to work on electric cars or converting normal cars to electric cars, then you would just be a step ahead of it. He was like, it's not available here now. I said, find a way, go to China. That's what it will cost. Go to China, go and learn. They're already doing all those things there. Learn, because a day is going to come. The first guys who had this equipment that they used to test the faults that cars had, those guys made money. All they needed
It's
to do was just plug the
true.
equipment in your car.
You can't blame anybody who can't forecast in that direction, because a lot of times being able to anticipate or forecast means that you have some exposure to these things, right?
True.
Um, you know. You're reading, you're educating yourself, you're watching stuff, you're talking to people, so you're getting exposed to these ideas and concepts. But those that are not exposed, uh, where do you want the inspiration to come from when it is not anywhere in their horizon?
In their horizon. So it will mean, sir, that for you to be able to anticipate, you must get knowledge first. So the first thing will be get knowledge, so that it will lead you to stuff you don't know, and it will help you to
Exactly.
anticipate into the future.
Exposure. So exposure is a prerequisite to being able to effectively anticipate.
Fantastic. Please, somebody
Yeah.
write that down in the comment section. Write it down. Write it. Did you hear what Mr. Monye said now? Exposure is a prerequisite. Say, how did it? I lost the thought now.
Even me, if I don't forget it, I tell.
It's a prerequisite for you to be able to anticipate. So let's shorten it like that.
Yeah.
Very important, very important. So I will not just cut your line of thought. I would like you to go on. So you've made the first point. After the prerequisite, we have anticipating, learning to anticipate. What's the next thing people need to do to survive in this time? What's the next thing?
Okay, so once you've anticipated, one of the things is for you to be able to use intelligence. You want to plan. Plan is the fourth thing, but before you plan, you need information that will enable you plan. Okay. So that ability to gather the right intelligence is key. We don't place a lot of premium in our environment on intelligence gathering, but it makes a huge difference. Any little thing you want to do outside the country, you will have fun. You will feel survey. You just finish eating. You're already feeling questionnaire. Did you enjoy the food? How did you like it? What did you like? You'll be tired of answering survey. You'll be tired of answering questionnaire. But why do they do these things? It's because at the end of the day, they would use the intelligence they're gathering to improve what they're offering you. But here we don't value it, and it's something
We
we
don't
need to.
value data.
We don't value data. We don't value data. We need to do it more often. So once you're able to cultivate that behavior and ability to gather intelligence, another thing you need to be able to do is to plan. Strategic planning. Probably one of the most crucial things you need to learn how to do. And strategic plan is something that is applied to all aspects of life, really. So yes, we're talking of corporate setting post-COVID, but even in your life, I mean, to all the viewers online, the truth is, if I hear, like now, I hear there's a prophylactic that is working, for this COVID situation. Something is that I look at it, I consider it, because I know that vaccines are not around the corner for me.
True.
So this is my own, personal situation. It's part of the planning. So if I hear that, oh, XYZ is working, I will look at it too. Especially if you are telling me it's under 1,000 naira. I'm hearing last for vaccine, and you're telling me 1,000 naira less for one tab. I go look at that tablet too.
Quickly jump at it.
You understand? So that's planning at that sort of rudimentary level. But when you look at it from a corporate perspective, one of the things in the planning process that I would like to emphasize is scenario planning.
Scenario
So
planning.
scenario planning. What if analysis? You are always looking at, because that's what COVID has done to us. Before, you did not know that we thought that if you don't have church every Sunday, everything will collapse. Right? Lives are going on, things are happening, churches are building online virtual capabilities,
True.
but they didn't anticipate that, oh, such a time will come. And that's what we need to do. What if this will happen? How would we organize ourselves?
The worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario planning. what if this will happen? How should I, change my business? What other revenue stream should I consider? If we even have to change completely, what should we do? Should we do a business that is so unrelated, or must it be related? These are all different questions you should be asking when you're doing scenario planning. But it becomes a key aspect of your planning process because you are dealing with an era of uncertainty. Yeah.
Anyone who has to survive in the era we are in must be good at scenario planning. One of our guests a few weeks back talked about having a plan A, having a plan B, having a plan C, even a plan Z. So anything that happens at the end of the day, there's always a plan to address whatever issue that comes up. I'm going to ask this last question to Mr. Monye because it's already 30 minutes and I want to let him go so he can have his dinner. But for everyone watching, please, could you put a question on the comment section that you want to ask Mr. Monye so that we can throw it at him while he's answering this question, which I'm going to ask. If you put your question in the comment section.
The last point in the process, because I stopped at planning. The last point is execution. It's implementation.
Come again, we didn't hear that, sir.
The last point is implementation. So after your strategic planning process, you have to be execution focused.
Implementation is the last point. Am I correct?
Yes, implementation is the last point. So your plan is only as good as how well you're able to execute it. If not, it's just a plan, right?
Fantastic. You must take action. You must implement. Nothing works on its own. No plan works on its own until there's implementation. All right, so I'm going to ask this last question, sir. What will be your advice to this younger generation coming up? Not your generation now, the generation below you. What would be your advice to them on how they can innovate going forward? Because they are the ones that are actually going to, work with COVID. We just heard down that in Guinea, there's a spread of Ebola there right now again. There's a new case of Ebola in Guinea. And so there's the worry that might just be another thing that we'll be grappling with. So with all the health issues that we're looking at,
diseases and pandemics and endemics and mics and mix. It's not.
But that's the uncertainty we're talking about. We're not. It's not a certain future. These things come, they go. We had Ebola before. We were able to handle it. Now there's a corona. We're working around it.
Were we able to handle it? Let's leave that conversation.
let's leave it, sir. You should.
No worry. Conversations with Chukwuka, we can talk about that one.
Let's leave the conversation, but let's go. So what do these younger people need to do going forward to be able to manage whatever kind of pandemic that comes, whatever kind of uncertainty? What do they need to do? What will be your fingertip points, not the 4 points you just told us now, your fingertip points on do this, do this, do this, do this. In case of any uncertainty, this is how we'll go.
Okay, so number one is continue to learn. Continue to empower yourself with knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is something that you will stay with forever and ever. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is do not jeopardize your health. Almost all these things that we're talking about have to deal with your immunity, your immune system, your level of immunity, and all of that stuff. So health is wealth. Try to keep healthy. Try to boost your immune system. Exercise more. It's important, and I'll tell you why that is so key. We're getting a lot of data now that suggests that more young people are depressed during this period. Okay, they're struggling psychologically with dealing with COVID. So it's one thing that you have to now become conscious of to to work on. So health, your immune system is another. Then the third is keep being relevant. Keep being relevant. And I'm talking about from a career perspective. Okay. Um, there are quite a number of people, again, and this is because COVID has really stretched young people. Most of the time, what you hear is, oh, we can't do this anymore. Our company says, oh, you should work from home, or they are still telling us to work here and then they quit their job. It is a smart move for you to quit your job during this period, especially if they are not the one telling you to go. Because the job market is in a tough place right now. It's in a difficult time in the job space. So it's not a time for you to say you're quitting. Um, so I think yes. So being positive and building yourself from the career standpoint is another thing that I will add. Okay, and then finally is for you to stay mentally strong. I mean, just wearing that sort of persevering spirit. That's another thing that I will add. So those are just quick things that I would mention, and the reason why I'm saying a lot of these things are somewhat related is
Seems like
because can you hear me?
Mr. Moye is yeah, your network is acting up, but you said we
Oh,
should stay mentally strong. I heard that one, the last one, mentally strong.
yes, that's what I said. I can hear you well. I can hear you well.
All right. So from Mr. Moye, the last point was we need to stay mentally strong in this time. If they're not asking you to leave your job, this is not the best time to leave your job. Am I correct, Mr. Moye?
Very correct. Very correct.
This is not the best time to leave your job. Let me thank everyone who watched from you. I see a lot of names on the comment section that I'm sure came from you. Abdul Muiz Shita says mental. I know that person is from you. I just know it's from you. There's Nick O. There are a lot of people in the comment section who I know came from you. I want to thank everyone who joined because Mr. Monye is here. And I also want to thank you, sir, Mr. Monye, for your time. Thank you for taking out this time to mentor young people in Delta State. I cannot forget the time you came and organized a free event at Protea Hotel in Warri. I was one of the persons sitting in front. I don't know if you remember. I was
Remember.
carrying my phone. I had all the video footage. I still have it till today
I
of
remember.
your time then. And Mayor Kings, who was one of your guys on ground that day, is watching right now. Mayor Kings, Ambassador Mayor Kings is here. He says to say hello to you. He's watching.
Okay.
Let me also thank Sarah for making this happen. Thank you, Sarah. I see you're watching. She's in the comment section. Sir, I want you to promise us live on there right now that when we call on you again, you will be right here to talk to us.
Set up. Okay. That's this sounds like a proposal on TV.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. I've had a good time, and thanks for having me. Any time that I have an opportunity to share, I take pride in it. So thanks again, and if you holler, I'll be there.
I would definitely holler. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Please, everyone, say thank you to Mr. Monye in the comment section. Put your comments in the comment section to say thank you to him. Somebody's asking a question, sir. We don't have the time, but let me just read the question. Maybe we'll be able to answer some other time. Do you believe in the saying that the path of an entrepreneur is very lonely? What keeps motivating you? Have you ever felt discouraged on this part of innovation due to the Nigerian factor? I think that's what he meant to say. Have you ever felt discouraged? One answer, sir. Just one answer for all of this.
The questions are pregnant. Plenty things.
Yeah, like 3 of them.
What keeps motivating you? Have you ever felt discouraged? So the question, yes, felt discouraged, yes. But what keeps motivating me is that I believe that our children and our children's children will see it. So that's what keeps motivating me. So it may not be for personally, but I believe that my children and my children's children.
see a better Nigeria. Thank you very much for your time. There's something about successful people. They don't think for themselves. They're always looking at posterity. And that is this man right here, not thinking for himself only, but thinking of the future. Many young people today don't know how to think of tomorrow. All they think of is today, instant gratification. But this man is thinking tomorrow and thinking for his children and his grandchildren. Thank you very much, sir, for coming tonight. I truly, 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 truly appreciate you, and we look forward to having you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have an awesome night, sir.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, that's been Mr. Ciuci Monye live here on Conversation with Segun. I told you when we say we are going to bring these guys, they will definitely be here. Let me see some of the comments. I'm sure Mr. Monye is still seeing, is still in the green room, so you can still see. Sarah Agbokwe, Sarah, thank you very much for making this happen. I must say a big thank you to you. Somebody else says, Kemele says, thank you, Mr. Monye, for an amazing session. Awesome as always. Thank you. Uka David. All these guys are from Mr. Monye. I've never seen them on this program before. Thank you, Monye. It was an amazing session. Ayobami Show, you have been consistent in putting comments and all. You say thank you to Mr. Monye. Fantastic. So everybody watching right now, next week I have another wonderful entrepreneur, business person coming here. I want you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. For all of you watching on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel so that whenever we come on like this Tuesday night, 8 p.m., GMT +1, you will definitely get a notification. Adora Onyinye says, thank you for the great session, Mr. Monye. Welcome. Please, everyone, subscribe to this channel. You will see all our past interviews and all the ones we are going to do. This is about the 50th episode of Conversations with Segun, with some of the top Nigerians you know and foreigners coming here to talk about everything related to business. Why wouldn't you want to subscribe to this channel? Next week, we're having another great Deltan, Mr. Ben Okotiebo. He's the chairman of Crown FM Asaba. So if you know anything about media in Delta State, this guy has done it all from back to front. Mr. Ben Okotiebo is going to be here next week, Tuesday night, same time, talking to us about starting a media business in Nigeria at this time. And you would definitely want to listen to that. If you enjoyed Mr. Monye tonight, most definitely you will enjoy Mr. Ben Okotiebo next Tuesday. But you will not see that, especially for those guys who came in through Mr. Monye tonight, you will not see that until you subscribe to this channel. So immediately put on the notification button and you get notification when we come up. This is to say thank you again to everyone who joined. God bless you for joining. And special thanks to Mr. Monye. We love you. You are a blessing to Delta State. With guys like you around, some of us can actually stay and say, yes, we did for Delta, nothing happen. We don't have to go to Lagos to make it. Then Mr. Monye, they're making it here. We also can make it here. I hope the program tonight has encouraged you. If it has, please do share with your friends and let other people also see what you saw tonight. Thank you for joining Conversations with Segun. We will always join you Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. and we always want to see you here, and we love to share some of the best and freshest ideas with you. Have a wonderful night. Ciao. I'll see you next Tuesday night, 8 p.m.